Hello viewers, in this part of the film we are going to discuss ulterior transactions. We will also be discussing applications of transactional analysis. We will be discussing the psychological games towards the end of this film and also the stroking, both negative and positive stroking will be discussed. Now, if we see the crossed and ulterior transactions, these transactions are, as I told you, they get crossed. So, this is one person reacting from the adult and other person is reacting from the parent, and parent to child he is addressing the communication. So, response is in one direction and the stimulus is on other direction. Elder sister says, go and arrange your room. The younger sister again says that you are not the boss here and don't dictate me like this. So, similar transactions will be there which may get crossed, and there are some other examples which we can use. So, these things I am telling you is not the case in the domestic life only, but this is the case in the organization also. So, transactional analysis is equally usable in the organizations, in the industries, in the families, and in one-to-one interaction, wheresoever it is taking place, you can use the transactional analysis. Now, rather than going to different other aspects, let we come to the application of transactional analysis. Beside this, certain other things like life scripts, life positions, and psychological games are there, which I will be telling you later on, but let us discuss the application of transactional analysis first. The transactional analysis has many uses as such, but the major uses are: number one, developing positive thinking. Means when you use this transactional analysis, this is very easy to understand that from which ego state or pattern of behavior the other person is speaking to you, and you can tell the other person that you have to improve your behavior like this, or other person, if he is also trained in the transactional analysis, he can tell you that you are using this ego state. So, this is the type of ego state. Adult behavior is always expected, that is I am okay, you are okay type of approach, which you might have seen in the film on the self-analysis, is required to be there. So, positive thinking is needed to be there, and hence we can develop this positive thinking through the use of transactional analysis. Secondly, we can go for increasing interpersonal effectiveness. Interpersonal effectiveness, whenever we are communicating, a salesman and sales manager are communicating with each other. Salesman is giving the figures that this is what he has achieved and this is what the targets are remaining to be achieved. Now, sales manager is interacting with him and taking the figures, noting down the points. Then he is to give some instructions or certain further targets or certain instructions which can improve upon his performance. He can very easily give it, that from which ego state he is speaking and telling at that moment, and which ego state he is generally using to persuade his customers. So, he can train the salesman in a better way so that he can approach or achieve the targets which he is scheduled to achieve, or he may be facing sometimes some difficulty in achieving it. So, those targets can be achieved. So, interpersonal behavior can be made better and interpersonal effectiveness on the whole will be increasing. Third is increasing the motivation level. You can motivate the people because you suppose you are a owner manager of a company, as most of you are owner managers. So owner managers can improve upon the behavior of the people, subordinates or workers by understanding that which ego state they are generally using and which ego state or pattern of behavior is needed by them. So they can be motivated that this is the type of behavior which is expected from you, and hence you should use that, and he can give certain motivation for doing so. Thereafter, organizational development can take place through transactional analysis. Organizational development means you are developing your organization in such a way that every person feels free to respond in the organization, and he can give his creative ideas in the organization. He can use certain new ways, innovative ways to improve the organizational functioning. So that is the things which we use in the organizational development. This organizational development can be there if we use the transactional analysis. Organizational development can be made better with the help of transactional analysis. Beside this, because there is a common language of transactional analysis, beside these 4 benefits, there is a common language of transactional analysis, and hence we can understand that from which ego state the other person is speaking, and we can ask the other person to communicate in the adult fashion, I am okay, you are okay fashion, rather than with other life positions or life scripts which you have seen in the self-analysis film already. In that 4 life positions were shown, that is, I am okay, you are okay, I am okay, you are not okay, I am not okay, you are okay, or I am not okay, you are not okay. So 4 types of positions which are used. You can understand from which ego state and from which life position the person is at the moment he is, and that person can be brought back to the I am okay, you are okay life position, and adult type of behavior, which is the matured behavior where the other persons are treated as equal. So this is a usefulness of this transactional analysis is not restricted only to the organizational development and motivation and various organizational performance or organizational functioning only, but this can equally be used, as I gave you some examples also, in the real life situations, in the domestic life situations where you are behaving with your family members, you are interacting with your family members, children, wife, and or husband, wife are communicating with each other. They can also improve upon the relationship. So with these things, perhaps we can conclude this transactional analysis. Another thing is, that is psychological games, which I wanted to cover but I didn't cover because I wanted to cover the first portion of it. Psychological games are the sort of behavior which is the artificial behavior we sometimes adopt to convince other people that we are dependent on them. We try to make our behavior artificial, or different people play these psychological games in real life situations. You might have seen that some person was posing something, or he was just trying to give some other impression which otherwise he is not. So you can observe that, but still people play such games which are called psychological games. There are 3 roles which the person is playing in this. One is the victim role, second is the rescuer role, and third is the persecutor role. 3 roles, one is victim, other is the what you call rescuer, and third is persecutor. The victim role when he plays, why he is playing and how he plays it. He provokes other people. When the other person is provoking the other person before him to put him down or use him or hurt him or harm him or say something which he otherwise in general in his actual behavior doesn't like. So that is the sort of behavior which he exhibits when he is playing a role of victim. That is, he is provoking other person to react in such a way that he is used as a victim. So that is not, he is not victim in the real life, but he poses himself to be victim because he is trying to make other dependent or try to get some favor from other person. So he is behaving as a victim. Other role is the rescuer role. The rescuer role, how he performs? He tries to show to other people or the other person before him that he is really very much interested to help him. He shows his helpfulness or attitude of helpfulness. So in this role of helpfulness, he gives this impression that he wants to help, but otherwise he might be the person who dislikes helping others, but still he is posing himself that he is a helper or he wants to help you in the real sense. So that also is a psychological role he is playing, and he doesn't help others in the real life situations. Thirdly, the persecutor. Persecutor is the type of role, psychological game, which the person play when the person tries to enforce certain rules, certain norms, certain regulations, which are very cruel, which are very hard, which are very harsh, which he is not able to implement himself also, but he'll pose such rules, such regulations, or such like things which he treats others, or pick up a person who is just little before him. He doesn't picks up a person which is equal to him. A manager may start scolding a worker which is innocent worker otherwise. So he is playing a psychological game in that situation and becoming a sort of persecutor in that role. People play these psychological games because they want to get stroking. Now you will ask that what is this stroking? Stroking is something, an act. Stroking is an act in which you try to recognize others' presence, or anybody is trying to recognize others' presence. Any act you perform in which you try to recognize and use others' presence. Other person is present, you feel stalked. You feel stalked. Like children, you might have seen very obviously, children try to be where the elders are, or they'll stay with the elders, or they may not be talking to each other, but they'll try to stay with the elders. There is no communication otherwise taking place. What that presence gives them a sort of security, sort of stroking, which is called in the transactional analysis parlance, stroking they are getting from the person's presence. Now, there's psychological games people play just to get strokes or stroking. A person playing as a victim tries to get strokes from the other person, stroking from the other person. That is, he says that I am very helpless person and you say me anything, I'll do for you, and whatsoever will be your need at any juncture of time, you help me at this. They are both negative and positive. stroking is having two connotations. One is positive and other is negative. Actually, positive strokes are needed. In general life, positive strokes are needed, but person can settle for negative strokes also when he is not getting positive strokes. For example, a mother is preparing breakfast, she is to go to office, and the child is just, she has worn a new sari as such, and she is being pulled by the child, small child. He is pulling the sari time and again. She is saying, don't do this, and I'll scold you, I'll just beat you even, and I'll give you a slap. Don't do this. So he is again pulling that sari. So he is settling for a negative stroke because the mother is going out of the house and she will be coming after completing the day's work. So he is settling for a negative stroke. Similarly, a person who is playing as victim, psychological game as a victim, he is settling for the negative strokes because the other person may be scolding him, or he may scold in the process. So this is the one benefit of, or one reason why the psychological games are played. Other may be that person wants to come back to his original position, psychological position. Out of the 4 positions, psychological positions, he wants to come back to the original position and wants to strengthen it further. That is, I am okay, you are okay, might be his position. So this position he wants to strengthen further and further, and for that he plays different roles so that he can observe that what sort of behavior he gets in the other positions. He artificially go to other positions. I am okay, you are not okay, or I am not okay, you are not okay, or I am not okay, you are okay. Sort of 3 other quadrants, he goes to those positions, then he visualize or observe that what type of reactions he gets from the society or other persons when he goes to those life positions. So in the process he again comes back to his I am okay, you are okay position, or any other life position which he is already having. So he may come back to that life position. So these are some of the reasons that why the person is using this psychological games. Beside this, there may be other reasons, like he wants to avoid or control intimacy with other persons. Avoid or control the intimacy with other person. So some people who want to shirk the responsibility, accountability, or don't want to open themselves, they may use this psychological games because they don't want to open up as such, like the boss and subordinate relation is there. So boss has given him some work, so he plays psychological games just to avoid the control of the boss, or he tries to be away from the boss because he tries to avoid the intimacy with him and doesn't want to mix up with him much because he will otherwise scold him for not performing according to the boss's saying. So this is the these are the 3 reasons, or there may be some other reasons like this, but these are the major reasons as such why people play these psychological games. Viewers, so far in this film we have discussed ulterior transactions. We have also highlighted various applications of transactional analysis in this part of the film. We have during the discussions made a mention of various life scripts and positions which the individual takes, like I am okay, you are okay, I am not okay, you are okay, I am not okay, you are not okay, and I am okay, you are not okay. We have also discussed towards the end of this film psychological games and various roles played by individual during the psychological games, like victim, rescuer, and persecutor. At the end of this film, we have discussed stroking both negative and positive type of stroking has been discussed. So, viewers, with the help of this film, I think I have made amply clear different aspects of transactional analysis.